Okay, hi Emily and Zara, I'm Jeff, and I just want to ask you some worldview questions. So the first one is, at the very beginning, how did the universe start, in your opinion?
You go.
Okay, so I've got a slightly religious perspective. Like, there's the whole story, like Adam and Eve, and like God created the world in 7 days. And then there's also like another verse that's like a second can be like a gazillion years in the time of God and all that. So I kind of think like a little bit religious, but like also like the science stuff is kind of true as well. So I reckon they both happened.
Okay, so it sounds like you're trying to reconcile the Bible with present day beliefs of science.
Because science is like right, but then it's also can like be correct in a religious perspective as well, if that makes sense.
Kind of. Well, what do you think?
I kind of take the stance of the Big Bang and science, and I'm not religious, so I don't really believe it.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
Fair enough to whoever does.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me ask you, where did the material for the Big Bang come from?
The atmosphere?
Well, no, the
Like,
Big
what do you
Bang
mean the
created
material?
the atmosphere. It created the
Yeah,
space-time universe. So before the space-time matter universe that we're currently living came about from the Big Bang, where did the initial singularity come from?
Wasn't it just like a tiny bit of matter and it just accumulated? Isn't that what happened?
I don't know that sounds right.
Yeah.
So where did that point come from?
Well, we don't know, do we?
That's where I'd be like,
God.
There's like a greater being.
Yeah, so that's a good... Actually, there's the cosmological argument for the existence of God. It says that everything that begins to exist must have a cause. The universe began to exist, which is confirmed by science.
Yeah.
Therefore, the universe has a cause.
Yeah.
The cause of the universe must be spaceless, timeless, and immaterial, because the universe is all we know of space, time, and matter. So what is spaceless, timeless, and immaterial? And very smart, by the way, because we have intelligent, very fine-tuned bodies, a fine-tuned universe.
Yeah.
God. The three-letter word that you're not allowed to say.
Yeah.
So do you believe in God?
Do I?
Yeah, personally.
I do. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I do.
Do you?
Yeah.
The next question is why... So this is the toughest question for people who believe in God. Why is there so much suffering in the universe?
Yeah.
I actually studied that last year at high school, which is so funny.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's like the kind of stance I take on it, not necessarily what I was taught, but like what I think is like if there's no suffering, then there's no good times. Like the suffering makes us better people and leads us to better things. Because bad things happen to good people, but often out of it you like get something better. And like he's just taking you to a better point.
So there could be a purpose for suffering.
Yeah. Not all. I feel like it's hard because like sometimes people like suffer and it's like not just and like.
I feel like there's purpose to suffering.
Yeah, but I mean there is definitely times you think of like third world countries and people are like in war and it's like, they don't deserve that, but you just got to hope that there's a greater meaning for it and that he has plans for them as well.
Has suffering always been a part of the universe and human experience?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
Okay. So in Genesis, it teaches that there was a time before the fall, before the Adam and Eve ate the tree from the tree of knowledge of good and evil.
Yeah.
And before that, there was no sin and no death.
Yeah.
But you don't believe that?
Well, I think there was, but I think after they did that, like the world we live in now, and from that point, there's always from then, there's always been suffering, and it's part of life, and then we just have to trust that it's for a purpose.
Okay, so God didn't create suffering to be there originally, but it came in.
It came to be. That doesn't really make sense.
Now you're leaning more towards an atheist position.
Yeah. I'd say.
So from your vantage point, why is there suffering in the world? Did you say Gnostic?
Agnostic. Yeah.
Agnostic.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so not sure.
Yeah. I'm not like totally against the idea of there being a higher being or anything. I just am not completely convinced.
Fair
But
enough.
for the reason of suffering, I just think it's natural. I think, some people are going to be in worse positions, some people are going to be in better. It's just all about luck and,
So should we try to prevent? If it's natural, should we try to prevent suffering?
The best we can, but it's pretty impossible to prevent it,
And why do you say that?
We just don't. I don't think we have the resources to, and people are greedy, and
Are human beings basically good, or basically, I could
basically evil or bad.
say, or evil, or basically
Self-serving.
selfish? Yeah.
I'd say I'd say it's a mix between the two.
Okay.
We're not inherently good, but we're not, bad either, I think.
What do you
Yeah.
think?
I think like it's the hardest part of being a Christian, right? Trying to be selfless in everything you do, because you want to think about you and you want to think about what you want to do, but there's so many other things you can also think about. So I don't think we're inherently evil, but I think it's a constant choice you make every day to try and be a good person.
Yeah, that's really good. Okay, let's move on to the next question, just for the sake of time. We could talk about that for longer, but
Yeah.
how do we fix the selfishness and greed problem in human beings so that we can live in an ideal society?
I don't think you can fix it. I think it's just going to be there. There's going to be greedy people, and you can't change them. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think it's not really something you can fix overnight or even in 10 years or 20 years. I think like it's all about making decisions every day that are like going to help other people and like trying to make your life meaningful and help everybody, and then you just have to hope that from your acts of kindness and selflessness other people will do the same
Yeah.
and kind of help where you can. And it's everyone doing their part.
Yeah, I think it starts with you and then like the community around you, trying to influence them and stuff.
Yeah.
What realistically is going to happen to the human race, like ultimately?
We're going to get wiped out by another COVID. For sure. That'll be
A COVID strain, or
pandemic again. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Like actually,
Yeah.
probably like death eventually.
everyone's going to die?
Yeah.
We're all going to die.
Yeah,
gonna
but in
die.
like billions of years' time.
Okay.
That's what I believe.
Okay. So if we're all going to die eventually, what's the point?
Yeah, well, that's the question, isn't it?
To be or not to be?
be or not to be.
That is the question.
question. Oh, yes.
I think the point is just to be happy and make connections with people, and
So relationship is important.
yeah, relationships probably the biggest part of human existence, I think. Forming connections and,
Are we here, like from a Big Bang perspective, are we here by accident?
Yeah, I would say so. But there's meaning to everything still. I don't know.
What is that meaning?
It's just whatever you make of it. Like, it's whatever
That's
that
very-
meaning is to you. Whatever.
That's very postmodern.
What's that? Postmodern?
Well, the idea that we just make up there's no big meaning,
Yeah.
but we just make up our
Our
own
own
personal
meaning.
meaning.
Yeah.
That's only been around in human history. That's only been around about 100 years.
Oh, really?
It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very new idea.
Oh,
You go, girl.
yeah.
But you think, so there's no grand purpose because we're here by accident.
Yeah, I don't think there's any grand purpose, but there might be. I just,
Would you be interested in knowing one alternative that says there is?
what's the alternative?
Let's transition. So I am a Christian, and I think that Christianity is that alternative that does give a purpose. It explains how we got here, why we're here, why things are messed up,
Yeah.
and what the hope is. So can I share that with you just real briefly?
Yeah,
Go for it.
So Christianity can be summed up in 4 words: creation, fall, rescue, restoration. It's a beautiful story. The Bible is, 66 books written by over 30 people, but it tells one story. And it has a ring of truth about it, and that's what I want to share. So the Bible starts off by saying God created the heavens and the earth, and he did it with a purpose. He's outside of space and time. He has infinite power and perfect character. He's one God in 3 persons, Father, Son, and Spirit, which means he has community and love built within him. And the Bible says that at some point he decided in his prerogative to create the universe. He didn't need the universe. He wanted to create the universe out of his grace, out of his love, out of his power, and he wanted to share himself with creatures. And so he made the universe, he made earth, he made plants and animals, but last of all, as the crown of all creation, he made us. So we are significant according to the Bible. We're actually the only thing in creation made in his image, and that includes male and female. And so it started off with one man and woman, and God's plan was for them to have children and grandchildren and spread out over the earth and basically live in Eden, make the entire earth a garden of Eden, where there was love and unity and harmony. But he gave them free will, right? Because you can't really love a robot. A robot can't love you back. He needed free will creatures that could actually make moral decisions, and that's us. So the first man and woman, Adam and Eve, had a test of their moral free will, and it was a tree in the garden that they were not to eat from. And unfortunately, they ate from that tree. It wasn't a surprise to God. He knew they would do it, but they did it with their own free will. And when that happened, the universe fundamentally changed. It changed from innocency and life and unity to disharmony, sin, death, and a fractured world. So today, we come from Adam and Eve, all of us. Everyone walking here, everyone on campus, we're all part of one human family that goes all the way back to Adam and Eve. And we have in our human hearts selfishness and sin. And we've all been guilty of moral crimes. The 10 Commandments lists some things that we're absolutely not to do, like stealing, cheating, lying, making idols, things like that. And
Making idols.
Yeah.
Worshipping other people.
Worshiping yourself. The idolatry of today is really worshiping yourself, or worshiping the image of yourself on social media. So all of that is called sin, and that separates us from God. So we're all have you ever met a perfect person?
No, I can't say I have.
Yeah. And
My mother calls herself
are you
practically
perfect?
But no.
Don't think so.
Yeah, I know I'm not. So let's just say that we're all imperfect people. We've all committed moral crimes against God. And so we're all guilty. If we were to die and go before him in judgment, we'd all be found guilty. But the good news is that doesn't have to be anymore. God has basically discovered or thought up a plan to save us from sin and death. And the plan involves not really you and me. It involves one person. That's the Messiah. So the Old Testament predicts that one day this special Messiah from the line of David, from Jewish, who is born in Bethlehem, who will come one day, and he will save all of mankind from sin and death. And so 2,000 years ago, he came. He is God the Son, and he became a human being. He had to be born of a virgin so that he could be fully God and fully man in one person. Because only then could he be perfect and yet human. Because there had to be a perfect God-man on the cross to take all the penalty of the sin onto himself to free humanity. We deserve to be on the cross, but Jesus, the perfect one, took our place. And before he did that, he did miracles to verify he was the Messiah, the Son of God. He said, he didn't just say love your friends, he said love your enemies. He taught a new way of life, but he wasn't a moral teacher. That was not his, I mean, he was, but that was not the main reason he came. He came to defeat sin and death on our behalf. And so he did that on the cross, and then 3 days later by rising from the dead. Now these are historical facts, so this isn't a fairy tale or a fable. Otherwise I wouldn't be here telling you this.
Yeah.
So this is verifiable historical information that Jesus rose from the dead. There's a lot of good evidence. The tomb was empty, the body was never found, and there were over 500 eyewitnesses who saw him rise from the dead.
Yeah.
I can tell you guys need to go, but let me finish. So the significance for you and I is that God has done this for us. He sent his son has done what he needed to do. We have a choice to make. Remember, we have free will. And so when we trust and believe and place our full confidence in what Jesus has done for us, not in ourselves and our own good works, but on what he has done, then God gives us, out of his grace, the gift of eternal life and forgiveness. So that means that whatever you've done in your past and whatever you're going to do in the future, past, present, future, Jesus has wiped the slate clean through his death. And he's defeated your death through resurrection, which means that you will live beyond this life in one of two places. And really judgment is going to be not how many sins did you do and how many good works did you do. It's going to be down to who did you believe in.
Yeah.
Did you believe in yourself or did you believe in Jesus? And so how's it all going to end? New heavens and new earth, where there will be no sin, no death, no crying, no pain. It's going to be a new earth, better than this one, where we will live as believers forever and ever with God and with each other.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay.
Sounds
what do you
good.
think about that?
I think if that's, what we're saying,
It's one option.
Yeah, it's one option. Yeah, it's good.
Any objections to that?
No, I'm not going to object to what
Okay.
someone believes in. It's their,
True, but we're not. Yeah, but I guess I should emphasize that the assertion.
Some of them are historical facts. Yeah.
Yeah, the assertion is not that this is one of any options that a person can choose to make him or herself happy. The assertion is that this is true truth, and that it has consequences for all of us, whether we are on Jesus' side or not.
Yeah.
So,
what's your feelings,
yeah.
thoughts and opinions?
Well, I've been a Christian since I was quite young, so obviously I believe in a lot of the same things. But I think there's also, it's probably different hearing about it, having not maybe grown up in that sort of,
true.
with those beliefs, and it can be a little bit overwhelming. But yeah, I think, I look forward to the day that I can die and go to heaven and have a wonderful eternity in peace in Eden, and until then I just gotta try to be the best person and,
And let me say, for you, that you have a view of the world now, and you're not going to give that up lightly. I mean, none of us would. We want to check things out. So I don't expect you to just believe like that. But I hope that you will give it a fair hearing and that you'll consider it. And if you guys stay friends, you at least have one Christian friend, through uni. Yeah. So, and I just want to encourage you in your faith. Like sometimes when I came to university, I lost my faith, and I abandoned Christianity for about 4 years, and it was a very low point. So, just want to encourage you to, there's Christian groups on campus. So,
Just at Club Stay?
Yeah,
hooked up.
we're just there.
Yeah, yes.
So signed up.
So, well, thank you, ladies. So, if you
Yeah,
want to
thank
watch
you.
this, it's on Firm Foundation NZ YouTube channel.
Awesome. All right.
Thanks
well, thank
for
you so much.
thanks for the interview.
No worries.
Okay, see you guys.
No worries.
Bye.
Have a good day.